Hello and welcome back to the W Basketball Show. Just me again, your host Lukas, joined by no one this week. I think this is two W episodes in a row W episodes in a row where I'm joined by no one, or maybe it isn't. Either way, going to be doing quarter season WNBA awards. That is at the 10-ish game mark of the season. Who would have won all of the end of season awards? That is not who will win the end of season awards when you extrapolate the current data. That is based off of the first quarter of the season. Who has won award X? If it sounds like something is taking off, if it sounds like a plane is taking off, that is my laptop. It's been on its last legs for, let's say, 3 years now. But it's still getting me through. I do desperately need a new laptop, seeing as, nearly everything I do is on it. But yeah, if you're like, oh damn, there's a bit of background, there's a bit of airport in the background, it's actually the laptop. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. First off the rip is going to be Executive of the Year, of course. Now I'm going to do MVP and Defensive Player of the Year first, and have a little bit of a discussion about the field. But as for the other 4 awards, I'm just going to award the players and just talk about their first quarters of the season. And also the reason I want to make a discussion about the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year is not only because they're the 2 biggest awards, but because it's clearly A'ja Wilson for both of them, and it would kind of just be boring to talk about one player for the 2 main awards. But let's start with A'ja. Faced with adversity, potentially for the first time in the last 2 years, let's say. You go from the end of last year, let's say the end of last regular season, to game 10 of the regular season this year, and you lose Candace Parker, Chelsea Gray, and Jackie Young is also injured now. Chelsea Gray, who knows when she's going to return. We thought she was going to return in the WNBA finals last year. There's just, it could be at any point. Candace Parker retired. And yeah, the term core 4 is thrown around the WNBA quite a lot, but it's currently, what is it? It's just a core 2 right now with Kelsey Plum and A'ja Wilson. And they got really solid pieces around them still. Kate Martin's been getting starts. Alicia Clark's been playing really well. I think Megan Gustafson's been playing really well. But MVP and Defensive Player of the Year going to A'ja. I think MVP, maybe Nafisa Collier. No, not maybe. Nafisa Collier is definitely second in MVP. But it's not close. A'ja is just averaging an absolute stack of numbers. She is shooting 1-3 a game and hitting 42% of them. Her efficiency is through the roof. Everything about her game is just like, she just kept on taking step after step after step. I feel like A'ja or Stewie, I think now that everyone's seeing clearly in the present day, if we were to rewind 2 years, Asia's probably been the best player since then. I think it was a discussion before then. I think Stewie started, when these 2 players were starting their careers, I think Stewie was ahead in the early days. But I feel as though Stewie she hasn't been taking the leaps every single season that I feel like Asia's been taking. And I feel like Stewie's kind of plateaued at this, incredible level, like plateauing as probably one of the 3 best basketball players in the world for the next 10 years, maybe. But A'ja just keeps on going and keeps on going and keeps on going. She applies so much pressure from the elbow, pretty much anywhere along the lane lines offensively. Great team player, great, just like super efficient, and just continues to dominate in every way. Plays either the 4 or the 5. They have her listed as a center on Basketball Reference. I feel like it's usually kind of interchangeable between her and whichever big she's ever played with, which speaks to her versatility. But yeah, the way she moves as well is just incredible. And no matter who is in or out of this team, she's putting the rest of the aces in, or giving them a chance to win every game. I think she's the biggest reason as to why that's happening. And I feel like that's kind of the reasoning I have Nafisa Collier in second as well as, me and Marco talked about it, but their line was set at 17.5. I hit the hard over. Marco hit the hard over. They're currently 8-3, so I think Nafisa is the biggest reason for that, and the expectation of them going into the season, she's kind of skyrocketing them above that expectation the most. And, if you didn't expect much of them coming into the season, then you have to give them their flowers. The Aces are currently 5-4, or unless Basketball Reference hasn't updated, but I'm pretty sure they're 5-4, which is well below what everyone was expecting. I feel like everyone was expecting another 30-win season, 29 or 28 if they had a bad season, but they're currently on track for whatever that is, 22-18 or something, which I assume that'll buff up closer to 30 as the season progresses. But yeah, this team's really banged up. Asia's been killing it. And yeah, I think she is clearly the best player in the world, and she's really playing like it. She's never. Yeah, I was gonna say she's in form, but she's never really out of form. So yeah, I think that as for the field for the MVP, I wouldn't feel comfortable putting anyone. I don't know who I'd have in third, but I feel like it's like. It's like Asia's first, no one second, and then Nafisa Collier is third. And Nafisa Collier is having an unbelievable season. As for the Defensive Player of the Year award, I do want to mention... Actually, no, I'll mention that later. Actually, no. Arike Ogunbowale has really improved as a defender. Or at least she's averaging 3.2 steals a game, leading the league, which is just insane. And I did have her in the conversation for most improved player. But I feel like there are also other players that have improved or taken a bigger jump than Arike. And then also, I know at the very start of the episode I said it's based on the first quarter of the season, but this could just be a streak of, and she's not even efficient, but like this could just be a streak of, she could just be in a hot streak right now, or a voluminous streak right now with the Dallas Wings. But in terms of the Defensive Player of the Year, I think Cameron Brink might actually be in the conversation. I might be, a prisoner of the, what would you call it, the social media moment she's having to start her WNBA career. I really want to say Alana Smith and Nafisa Collier are in the conversation, but I don't fully believe that. They're probably the best defensive front court in the WNBA. But I think this is between Ezzy and Asia. I think this is close. I think you could choose either of these players and you'd be happy with your choice. But again, I went with Asia because Ezzy has a lot to lean on. She has a lot to lean on, not only defensively, but the Storm have started humming offensively, and putting points on the board puts pressure on the other team. Whereas Asia is doing the most on both ends of the court, and she's holding this team together. So I just think, yeah, I think there's got to come a point in time where people start to celebrate Asia Wilson and, give her flowers, so to speak. But there needs to be a moment where we're just like, okay, where we marvel her. And I think that the start of this season, 5-4 isn't the most marvelous thing. But I feel like there's just never been a moment where everyone's been like, okay, Asia is the best player in the world. Let's notice that for while it's happening. Let's celebrate her for the next X amount of months. And yeah, I think she has so much responsibility on both ends, and she's really she's just killing it, and she's someone worth celebrating. So congratulations, Asia Wilson, you're officially the quarter season WNBA MVP and Defensive Player of the Year of the Deep Twos Quarter Season Awards 2024. Who knows? Maybe this will be a recurring segment as the years go on. Next, let's go with the most boring one. Coach of the Year. Just had to pause. I've got this fucking yawn stuck in my, the place where the yawn is stuck. Coach of the Year, Sandy Brondello of the New York Liberty. I think not only do they have the best record in the league, I think what they're doing this year, which I feel like they didn't do last year, is they can have a bad game and win. I feel like they had to have a good game to win last year. I think, a lot of things have also, her players have developed in their own right. And I think with the way they are schematically, I think there aren't that many, I feel like there aren't that many holes in their game. I feel like, taking Sabrina Ionescu off the bounce is always an option. I mean, Jade Melbourne, shout out for, both Aussies, Sandy Brondello and Jade Melbourne, and Ezzy for the DPOY mention, the top two in DPOY. But, Jade Melbourne cooked Sabrina Ionescu the other day. But yeah, I feel like offensively they're applying pressure on their opponents, not only individually, but as soon as it isn't going on, as soon as they aren't winning on talent. Actually, no, coming out the gates, they play as a team. And then if one of them gets hot, obviously you go to that player. But I feel like there isn't that weird herky-jerky transition back to team basketball. I feel like they just pivot straight back into it. It's smooth. They run a really good play. They have really good sets. I think maybe their D still isn't like at that level where they can just manufacture a run. Maybe that's the mark against Sandy. But overall, she's taken, I think, a huge step with her roster. So I think Sandy Brondello is clearly the coach of the year through the first quarter of the season. All right, well, let's go to the Caitlin Clark Award, the Rookie of the Year. Oh, would you look at that? It's Caitlin Clark. I think generally this rookie class has been really interesting to follow and really fun to follow as well. I think there's a lot of characters that people know coming from college to the WNBA. Clark has the best stats. She has the biggest responsibility on and off the court. I understand that people don't want to be like, people want to make it it's just, rookie, but the basketball was what they do on the court. But she does have a massive responsibility off the court. I have access to a few of the WNBA teams, and before the game they make 2 players available and the coach, and then after the game, before the game they make the coaches available for 10 minutes. After the game they make the coaches available and 2 players from each team available. But as for the Indiana Fever, they do coach. Clark does 10 to 15 minutes before the game, and then she does her own 10 to 15 minute press conference after the game as well. So she can't, you want to say this is just something that happens on the basketball court. She's been lumped on with so much responsibility. So it does go beyond basketball. And yeah, she's a great face for the league. She's a great face for the Fever. I think that this team could be doing more. I think that I said it a few weeks ago, but if you would have, then they might need another someone else. They might need an enforcer on this team, but they are starting to learn how to play with one another. I think Temi Fagbenley is, I think the connection she has with the guards on this team is really good. I didn't expect her movement patterns to be so good and her in the open court to be such a threatening thing. I thought she'd be more of a half-court player with the Fever. But the team really wants to find her on the break, and it's awesome. But Caitlin Clark, the efficiency numbers don't blow you away. She's, just addicted to turnovers as well. 17, 5, and 6 is awesome. Great numbers in your rookie season. Free throw percentage is really high. I can't remember who it was, some nerd for the Way Too Hip basketball publication was like, oh, actually the free throw percentage is a better indicator of long-term shooting success. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come in future seasons. But yeah, if you can put these numbers up, then you'll only become more comfortable with the pace of the league. I think if I were to pick a second, I think not because of the the LSU versus Iowa reasons, but I think Angel Reese would actually be second in Rookie of the Year. I think she's hyper inefficient, but she is, I can't remember what it was, I think 6th in rebounds per game, and she's averaging way less minutes than all the other players above her. I think she's second if it comes to when it comes to per 36 proportionately. When you filter out, the people that have played one game and had one offensive rebound in 1 minute or something. But I really didn't expect her to have 11.6 points. I thought that'd be somewhere in like the 6 to 8 range. I thought she'd come in as a bit player, as a role player, and yeah, just like have more of a smooth gradient into the player she will become. I think what she has proved though, through 10 games, is that she cannot improve for the rest of her career, and she could probably be a starter on a championship team. Let's say the efficiency is a bit better. I mean, 35% from the field is awful for a big, but she's averaging 6 free throw attempts a game. That's pretty good. Yeah, she's got such a clearly defined role. She's a great defender. She's a really high IQ defender, and a great rebounder, great hustler. And if the points are already this high, then I feel like she probably won't get more opportunities as her career goes on. I feel like that 11 field goal attempts range, maybe it bumps up to like 14, but I couldn't imagine it being higher than that. But in any sense, I think the efficiency will only increase. And as these rookies adjust to the pace of the league, I feel like she'll start to make more of her opportunities. But yeah, I think she's been she's definitely been the second best rookie of the draft class, which I don't think people thought would be the case coming in. I feel like Cameron Brink and Ricaiah Jackson you'd probably put ahead of her in terms of rookie of the year stuff. I wouldn't have put Camila Cardoso ahead of her, but yeah, I wouldn't have expected Angel Reese to be second. So credit to her. She's playing really well. What should we do? We got most improved and 6th player of the year. Let's go 6th player of the year. Kennedy Carter. Who else did I have? Ricaiah Jackson, funnily enough. But I feel like Kennedy Carter not only has like much better stats. I don't think Ricaiah Jackson will qualify or qualifies. She's played in 11 games and started 6, and then same deal with Sophie Cunningham. Exactly the same reasons as Ricaiah Jackson. Not as good as Kennedy Carter. Might have started too many games to qualify. And those are the only reasons. But Kennedy Carter, I think she's been trusted with that, backup creator kind of combo guard role. She's shooting above 50% from the field. She's shooting below 20% from 3, but she's not a 3-point shooter, averaging half attempts per game and making 0.1 of them. But yeah, averaging 13, 3 and 2, and pretty efficient. I think the other thing is like she is trusted with a role I don't think you could trust anyone with. She creates a lot of opportunities. She's usually shooting at the end of those opportunities. I don't know if she necessarily needs to become a better playmaker, or if her vision needs to be better, or if she just needs to continue putting pressure on the rim, because Chicago really need points and buckets. And I guess if the ball was flowing, then yeah, sure, that would be a better thing. But like, who's it flowing to? Who else do you want shooting? Actually, and this is another point I was going to make on the Angel Reese side of things, but I feel like a lot of their Chicago Sky's offense is perimeter focused, so Reese isn't really getting the plays called for her. She's kind of making the most of the opportunities that, when they present themselves, and, the opportunities that she creates for herself and for her team with the rebounding. But yeah, I think overall the team's just not that great. I think experience is the main reason why. I think, their hand was kind of played for them. It could be 3 seasons in a row now, but definitely this last off season. Oh, no, wait, is it? I think it's 3 seasons in a row. They've just slowly been bleeding players. Whenever they won the championship, the X amount of years that have followed that, it's just been players leaving. And yeah, it's a completely different team to the one that won the ring a couple of seasons ago. But yeah, I'd say Kennedy Carter for sixth player of the year. I think, yeah, this role is just always, it's always going to be easier to see that, annoying guard that comes off the bench and just puts heaps of pressure on the rim. And Kennedy Carter is this first quarter of the season's version of that. Hang the bloody, get your trophy polish out, Kennedy. Am I right, people? And last but not least, most improved player. Now, I might have said this, that Kennedy Carter was most improved. I might have mucked up and not said sixth player of the year, but Kennedy Carter, sixth player of the year. Most improved, Dearica Hamby. This award, again, I feel like Arike Ogunbowale, she definitely, crossed my mind. But Dearica Hamby, man, I don't feel like anyone would have thought that she could be a 20-point per game scorer. I don't feel like anyone could have thought she could have been a 48% three-point shooter. She was helped off of when she played for Las Vegas. She was, she was seen as like a weak point in the offense, but she's really improved her offensive game. She's an unbelievable rebounder. She's a great defender. She's a great playmaker. And just the way her time in Las Vegas ended, it was really sour. I can't recall it exactly, but I'm pretty sure she was pregnant and then she'd given birth. And then I think very soon after she gave birth, the Aces cut her. But I think also, not only is that like brutal, but the way they went about it, I feel like she didn't find out through anyone directly. I think she might have found out through social media maybe, or something like this. But to come back from that point, I mean, you want to talk about improved play. What about like most improved life, most improved person? Like, that would have been such a low point in her career. And she's looking great in LA with the Sparks. The Sparks, let me get their record up. I feel like every time I watch them play, they're playing a good game of basketball. 4-7, not great, but definitely better than what people were expecting. I think their line was 10.5 going into the season, so they're nearly there. Kurt Miller, really good coach. I don't think I can speak on how they've been schematically so far. I feel like actually I haven't seen enough of them yet. But in watching them against the Aces the other day, actually there were a few plays where I can't remember who the guard was at the time. It could have been Aari McDonald, WNBA alumni Aari McDonald. But Lee Yeru set a really good screen, and she was rolling to the basket, open in the lane, and they just didn't find her. And then she called her a number in the next play and just bricked a deep two. So she compounded the issue and really didn't do herself any favors. But I feel like there are a few coaching things, game plan things that could change with the Los Angeles Sparks. But I think the roster is working well together. I think it's gelling well together, and I don't think it's on a knife's edge. I think this is substantial, and I think it's only going to get better. And Dearica Hamby is really leading them. I feel like she's this great tweener in between Cameron Brink and Rakea Jackson to just be an incredible leader for both of them, a great mentor, not only behind the scenes in the locker room, etc., but she's just showed everyone in the world like she is a star, and you don't accidentally average 20 points per game through 11 games. She's a two-time All-Star, and in her 2 All-Star seasons, she averaged 11.6 points and didn't have a single start, and then 9.3 points. That season she was a starter, but those were 2 seasons with the Aces where they were just killing the league, and she was playing that really important role, just tying everyone together. Now I feel like she's still tying everyone together, but she has more people to lean on for those hustle plays as well. And there's a lot of players on the Sparks that want to make those hustle plays. And then she's also been given all of this responsibility in not only as a scorer but as a playmaker, and she's just thrived in that role. 55, 48, 64 splits. So the free throws could be better, but great efficiency. Really great season. I really hope she keeps this up. Even if she keeps... what would have to be her low... Like, what would she have to drop to? I think if the points dropped to 15, then you'd start to look to the field to see who else could be most improved player. But I really don't foresee that happening. I feel like maybe she ends at the 16 range. But then you got to factor in the efficiency the rebounds. Oh, just the stats across the board. And if the Sparks can be like if the Sparks can be a 15-win team, then I think that she's already leaps and bounds ahead of the field. She probably can keep it up more than all of the other players that would be in the most improved conversation. And she might not only have the individual, but she might have the team success to go along with it. So there you have it. There is she's my most improved player, Dearica Hamby, for the 2024 quarter season Deep 2 official WNBA awards, potentially year one of many. So let's run through them again. Let's just do the same order. MVP, A'ja Wilson. Defensive Player of the Year, A'ja Wilson. Coach of the Year, Sandy Brondello. Sixth Player of the Year, Kennedy Carter. Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. Most Improved Player, Dearica Hamby. Why do I feel like I'm missing one? There's 6 awards. MVP, Defensive Player, Coach, Rookie, Most Improved, 6th. That's right. That's all of them. There you go. How easy was that? Oh, man. So much shorter when you do these by yourself. I guess you're still talking the same amount of time. Like, what's this, 26 minutes now? But if it was with someone else, we would get to 50 minutes. That makes sense. Okay, well, bye.